This is News 25 with Deanna O'Donnell and Unette Gentry. News 25, local news you can count on. News is brought to you by J.K. Nelson Law. Call 727-9900 today for your free consultation. If you need a lawyer, you need Nelson. News 25 is also brought to you by Silver State Health, Pahrumps exclusive pediatric care clinic. Call 775-505-1214 for an appointment.
Welcome to News 25. I'm Deanna O'Donnell.
And I'm Unette Gentry. It's Tuesday, April 20th.
Well, guilty. The jury has come back with a guilty verdict on all 3 counts against former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin for the death of George Floyd. The sequestered jury of 5 men and 7 women deliberated for over 10 hours last night and this morning. 45-year-old Chauvin pleaded not guilty to the charges of second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. The second-degree unintentional murder charge alleges that Chauvin caused Floyd's death without intent while committing or attempting to commit felony third-degree assault. In turn, third-degree assault is defined as intentional infliction of substantial bodily harm. The third-degree murder charge alleges that Chauvin caused Floyd's death by perpetrating an act eminently dangerous to others and inviting a depraved mind without regard for human life. The second-degree manslaughter charge alleges Chauvin caused Floyd's death by culpable negligence, whereby the person creates an unreasonable risk and consciously takes chances of causing death or great bodily harm. Each of the 3 charges requires prosecutors to prove that Chauvin's actions were not objectively reasonable and that they were a substantial cause of Floyd's death. As in many criminal cases, the prosecution has the burden of proof and must prove the charges beyond a reasonable doubt, and that is what they did today. Any verdict the jury reaches must be unanimous. Chauvin can face up to 40 years in prison for second-degree murder, up to 25 years in prison for third-degree murder, and up to 10 years for second-degree manslaughter. Minnesota's sentencing guidelines recommend about 12.5 years in prison for each murder charge and about 4 years for the manslaughter charge. The defense presented its witness and testimony last week in trial. The defense's turn before the jury came last Tuesday when the prosecution rested after calling 38 witnesses over 11 days. Jurors heard testimony from 7 witnesses from the defense. The death of George Floyd occurred on May 25th of 2020 when Minneapolis police officers arrested Floyd, a 46-year-old black man, after a convenience store employee called 911 and told the police that Mr. Floyd had bought cigarettes with a counterfeit $20 bill. 7 minutes after the first squad car arrived at the scene, Mr. Floyd was unconscious and pinned beneath 3 police officers, showing no signs of life. The actions that violated the policies of the Minneapolis Police Department turned fatal, leaving Mr. Floyd unable to breathe, even as he and onlookers called out for help. The day after Mr. Floyd's death, the police department fired all 4 of the officers involved in this episode. On May 29th of last year, the Hennepin County Attorney Mike Freeman announced third-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter charges against Derek Chauvin, the officer seen most clearly in the witness videos pinning Mr. Floyd to the ground. Mr. Chauvin, who is white, kept his knee on Mr. Floyd's neck for at least 8 minutes and 15 seconds. Chauvin did not remove his knee even after Mr. Floyd lost consciousness and for a full minute and 20 seconds after paramedics arrived at the scene. The testimony revealed in court for a total of 9.5 minutes. According to the coroner, Mr. Floyd died of cardiopulmonary arrest, complicating law enforcement's subtle restraint and neck compression, meaning that he had a heart attack as the officer was pinning him to the ground.
And in local news, the Nye County Sheriff's Office is investigating a single vehicle accident that occurred on Monday night.
A neighborhood was shocked awake last night as a single vehicle rollover near Bourbon Street and Patro. The driver of the SUV appeared to have fled the scene as Nye County Sheriff's Office deputies arrived. Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue medics said that they located the driver of the vehicle on Bourbon Street and Leo. Police also commented that they found a loaded firearm magazine near the vehicle. It's unclear at this time if the driver was in fact injured as a result of the rollover and if there was anyone else inside the car. Nye County Sheriff's Office deputies are investigating. Well, today, Governor Sisolak signed an emergency directive solidifying changes related to social distancing announced last week. Emergency Directive 44 to help achieve the goal of reopening business capacity to 100% in all counties by June 1st. As outlined in the Nevada Roadmap to Recovery, COVID-19 mitigation measures will begin transferring to local authorities starting May 1st, and each Nevada county has been working with the COVID-19 Mitigation and Management Task Force to finalize plans for this transition. As a result of the transition to local authority, each county will be able to make decisions based on what is best for their communities while considering transmission of the virus, vaccination, testing, and other infrastructure needs specific to their areas. Local plans may be in effect no earlier than May 1st. If a provision of a local plan adopted by a county conflicts with a required statewide mitigation measure, that provision is void. All remaining state mitigation measures, with the exception of mask mandates, will terminate effective June 1st. We'll have more news right after this.
You're watching News 25, the most recognized and farthest reaching local news in Nye County. News 25, local news you can count on.
Welcome back to News 25. Well, a Tesla car crash has investors worried. Warnings have been issued about the Peloton treadmill, and the CEO of Johnson & Johnson's salary is questioned. Here's the latest from the business world.
Here's Angela Miles with today's Business First Brief.
Topping our news, a deadly crash involving a Tesla is shaking up investors and that stock. 2 people were killed in Texas, and now the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration tweets that it is sending in a special team to investigate the car that crashed into a tree. No one was behind the steering wheel. It's not clear if the driver assist system was being used. There's no response from the company. Regulators issued a safety notice about Peloton. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission is advising people to stop using the Peloton Tread Plus treadmill near small children or pets. The agency reports there's been 1 death and 39 incidents. Peloton says there's no reason to stop using the exercise equipment as long as all safety instructions are followed. The CEO of Johnson & Johnson is being called into question over his $30 million pay.
Thanks, Angela. Well, a person reported missing was found and arrested.
Sheriff's deputies received a report of a found person and were dispatched to the area of Highway 160 and Dandelion. Upon arrival, contact was made with an adult female that stated that she and her boyfriend, identified as Kenneth Medina, were from California. She stated that Medina had dropped her off at work and he went to court. According to the declaration of arrest, Medina was supposed to pick her up after work but never showed. She stated that after several attempts to contact Medina and locate her vehicle, she contacted the Nye County Sheriff's Office and reported Medina missing. The deputy confirmed that Medina was listed as a missing person out of California. The female stated that she had briefly spoken with Medina days prior and told him to bring her vehicle and dog back to California. She said she allegedly left text messages and voicemails, and Medina never returned the vehicle or the dog. Deputies spoke with Medina, who reportedly stated that he and the female were having differences. When asked if he had spoken with her in the past week, he allegedly said that he had, and he was on his way back to return the car. Medina was arrested for possession of a vehicle without the owner's consent. He was transported to Nye County Detention Center for the booking process.
And a vehicle reported stolen in Las Vegas is found with a suspect right here in Pahrump.
On the afternoon of April 10th, deputies were dispatched to a Pahrump address for a report of a stolen vehicle parked at a residence. The vehicle had been described as a black Dodge pickup with no plates. Upon arrival, deputies located the vehicle parked in front of the residence. They contacted the homeowner, who advised them that a male identified as Tyler Williams had driven the vehicle to the residence and was currently inside. The homeowner gave consent for deputies to make contact with Williams. A records check confirmed that the vehicle was stolen out of Las Vegas Metro Police Department. 3 individuals who lived at the residence confirmed that Williams had driven the vehicle to the house 3 days prior and had been driving it since. Deputies were able to locate keys to the truck in a backpack that Williams had on his person. Deputies learned that Williams was currently on probation, and his probation officer advised that Williams would be in violation of his probation conditions. Williams was arrested at that time for violation of probation and possession of a stolen vehicle.
Well, Danny Hicks appeared in court yesterday to enter a plea for his role in a heinous case dating back to early 2020.
Hicks was arrested in February of 2020, along with Mickey Cagle, Vicky Bockley, and Eric Garcia, after the Nye County Sheriff's Office was contacted by DCFS to report 4 children were allegedly being sexually abused by 3 males who were staying in their home. The 4 suspects were arraigned on 24 charges that ranged from incest to bestiality. Garcia pled guilty to lewdness with a minor and use of a minor in production of pornography and was sentenced in January to 10 to life on each count. Cagle and Bockley have pled not guilty and are currently awaiting trial. Hicks had originally been charged with 4 counts of child abuse or neglect, 3 counts of sexual assault, 2 counts of bestiality, and 4 counts of lewdness with a child under 14. Hicks appeared in court via closed-circuit television from the Pahrump jail. He has pled guilty to 1 count of child abuse for striking a child. His attorney, Daniel Martinez, asked for a psychiatric evaluation prior to sentencing so that Hicks would be eligible for probation. The request was granted. Hicks will be sentenced on July 12th at 9 a.m.
And a mobile home belonging to a gun enthusiast keeps the Beatty Police Department at a distance.
The early morning fire on April 8th on the 500 block of West Watson in Beatty sounded a lot like a fireworks show. The engulfed mobile home provided pops, bangs, and booms due to its storage of black powder and ammunition. The mobile home had belonged to Cecil Teague, who was known as a gun enthusiast and former member of the Beatty Cowboys. Teague passed away in 2019. Wayne Hale lives in a motorhome on the property and said that a swamp cooler appeared to be where the fire started. While the fire did spread to Hale's motorhome, the fire department was able to keep the damage to a minimum. The fire department was called back the next morning when items inside smoldered and flared up.
All right, don't grab that remote. We're telling you what you can do to help your teen's mental and physical health during this ongoing pandemic. News 25 will return after this break.
You're watching News 25, brought to you by Mountain West Lawyer, Injury Attorneys, 727-9500. News 25, local news you can count on.
Welcome back. The pandemic has taken a toll on many people's mental health, especially teenagers. They went from seeing their friends every day at school to having to learn from home.
Kids are flexible in general, but this has gone on for so long and it's getting very tiring. And teens are very much in the moment. They're not used to things waiting, except for important things like proms and graduation.
Vanessa Jensen is a pediatric psychologist with Cleveland Clinic Children's. She says the change in lifestyle has left some teens feeling anxious and depressed. So how can parents tell if their child is struggling right now? She says there are a couple of red flags to watch out for, like a big drop in grades or isolating themselves and not talking with friends. Eating and sleeping habits might change too. They may also get headaches and make vague complaints about not feeling well. She says there are ways to help them cope. For example, if they miss playing sports, you can watch videos from their old games. You could also encourage them to do a good deed for someone they know.
If your teen is willing to say, hey, why don't you give Mrs. So-and-so a call? Or let's bake some brownies for Mr. So-and-so down the street and leave them on the doorstep. Just the sense of doing something for somebody else can get our brains off of how we feel and give us a sense of doing something purposeful.
As for parents, she says try to not be too hard on yourselves. Many people are having a hard time right now, and it's okay to let your kids know that. And if you're feeling completely overwhelmed, you can always reach out to a medical professional for advice.
And speaking of caring for your family and loved ones, do you care for a senior or maybe someone who has dementia? Well, you need to know about Friends Day Out, a fun program by RSVP.
We started up our Friends Day Out program again. It's going to be every Thursday from 11:30 until 2 or till when we wind up. And it's geared towards caregivers and who are taking care of family members with dementia. And that's primarily, it doesn't have to be that. It can be for, any situation, but it's a way of socializing. And in our case, it's safely because it's being done at the Coalition in one of the classrooms, room 29. So we have the way it's spread out. I don't have to worry about people being too close. So if a couple comes and stays, they can stay. But it's called the Java Music Club. And we've got it all over the state with RSVP. I think we are probably one of the first of the RSVP offices that opened theirs again because I have the Coalition to work through. And it's fun. It's singing, it's talking. We have, each week is a different subject, and we show pictures. And for those living with dementia, it's an opportunity for them to socialize and still feel part of a community. It's an opportunity for a caregiver to leave their loved one with us and then go and do some running around if they need to because they're in a safe environment. But most of the time they end up staying and joining the party. Yeah. So now what we're doing is suggesting, because it's not at the senior center, but for them to bring a sack lunch. And that way they can have lunch. And then we start singing and talking and visiting. And it's free. And it's every Thursday from 11:30 to 2. It's at the Nye Communities Coalition in the big building in room 29. It's COVID safe. We have, everything is kept wiped down or sprayed. You know how that goes. And we have plenty of room for social distancing. And it really is fun. I'm so pleased that we've gotten started. However, we have to make sure we maintain our numbers so they don't get too high. So call me and call if you want to join our party for Java Music Club at 702-845-4748.
News 25 Weather Cam is brought to you by Lerner and Rowe Injury Attorney's Office in Pahrump. In a wreck, need a check? Call 702-877-1500.
Hi, good evening, Nevada. Looking out the weather window into the White Castle camera on Fremont Street tonight. Check that out, 85 degrees in Las Vegas. We'll tell you all about the weather we're experiencing all over the state when we return.
News 25 weather is brought to you by Dairy Council of Nevada. The splash of cream in your coffee, the dollop of sour cream on your burrito, the melted toasty cheese on your pizza. Undeniably delicious, undeniably dairy. Enjoy what's real.
Hi, good evening, Nevada. It's John Calder from the KPVM Channel 25 studios. Had to check real quick. Yep, still Channel 25. Hey, let's take a look at the weather as we head up and down the state. Fernley, Fallon, Carson City, Tonopah, even as far down as Goldfield. Lows to mid-70s is the high temperatures you're experiencing today. Beta, you're all the way up to 81. Amargosa, look at you, 85 degrees. Sweating it out in Las Vegas at 87-degree highs today. And Death Valley, 99, bumping up on triple digits. But here in the paradise of Pahrump, where the air is pure, the grass is green, and you can get a taco most places on a Tuesday night. 84 degrees is our current temperature. High today was about 85, and it's feeling good with that wind coming at us at 19 miles per hour. Kind of take the dew off the old dome there. Sun rose this morning at 6:03 a.m. It's setting this evening at 7:22, and we'll miss it. Bye-bye. Temperatures heading down to 58 tonight. Wind's still coming at us about 19 miles per hour out of the southeast, but check out tomorrow. Check out the rest of the week. It's going to calm down a little bit. The next 3 days, temperatures staying in the high 70s and lower 80s. This weekend, temperatures bumping all the way up to 85 degrees, but look at what else is bumping up those wind speeds. 21, 23 miles per hour Saturday and Sunday. It's going to be a little bit blowy. Might want to make friends with a windbreaker and behoove you. All right, Monday, the temperature's going to calm down a little bit. 66 degrees, we're going to get some clouds, maybe even some rain. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that. It'll change between here and there, I'm sure. We live in a desert. What are you going to do? All right, back to the desk. It's Unette and Deanna.
Thanks so much, John.
Thanks, John.
And I love that little weather cam down there on Fremont Street.
No, I do love that, and I was just there at that White Castle. I will neither confirm or deny how many I purchased.
Oh my Lord,
yes.
I know she did.
Yes.
All right. So, you know, I'm like super happy because, of course, we're in Las Vegas and we have all of our channels here in Pahrump, and you can watch us on YouTube and Facebook as well, and listen to us on East Country Radio.
That's right.
If you're watching on TV or you want to watch on TV, we just want to give a big shout out and let you know, if you want to hook up your local TV, of course you can do that. You don't need to just watch us online. All you need to do is just get a digital antenna, and you can do that by going to your local store or even buying it online and then hooking it up to your over-the-air antenna. And what you do is you just, if you have a box, you just turn off that box, rescan for over-the-air channels. You'll get a whole bunch.
25-1.
I know, even
And
for
all of
Las
our other
Vegas.
channels, yes.
Even for Vegas. So if you're listening from Vegas and you want to get a free local TV, and I know most of the youngins, they're not going for that subscription services or satellite anymore.
Smart.
Yeah, so
Very smart.
so you can get free local TV by just rescanning with a digital antenna. If you need more information, give us a call, 727-9400. That's it. I'm Deanna.
And I'm Unette, and I would like to wish a very special Delta-versary to my line sisters of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and greetings to all members of Pan-Hellenic organizations.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good night.